Step 2. Mashing. In the mashing tuns, the ground malt is subsequently mixed with water to create the mash. It is heated through a number of different temperature levels while being constantly stirred. During this process, the natural enzymes work to convert the starch found in the malt into fermentable liquid sugar. Step 3. Lautering. In the lauter tun, the solid components of the malt, which will later become spent grains, are separated from the liquid. The resulting liquid is called wort, which is then added to the brew pot. The leftover spent grains is used in agriculture as high-quality animal feed. Step 4. Boiling the wort. Hops are then added to the brew pot, and the wort is boiled gently for over an hour, during which time the wort takes on the prized bitterness and aroma from the hops. During boiling, the original gravity of the beer is adjusted, which is traditionally higher in our beers than in those from many other breweries. Step 5. Whirlpooling. After boiling, the finished brew is pumped into the whirlpool, where the cloudy components of the wort are separated and removed. The wort clarifies. Step 6. Cooling the wort. Once the wort, still at almost 100 degrees centigrade, has clarified in the whirlpool, it is cooled using a heat exchanger. It is then pumped into the fermentation tanks. A heat recovery process is used to produce hot water, which is sufficient to supply the whole brewery. This heat recovery means that the brewery can save substantial amounts of energy. The route to quality. Fermentation, storage, filtering. En route to the fermentation tanks, yeast is added to the cooled wort in the yeast store. The yeast is the fourth ingredient, the beer's spirit, and causes the beer to ferment. It has the effect of turning the liquid malt sugar in the wort into alcohol and carbon dioxide. The quality of the yeast has a great influence on the taste of the end product, the beer. We use bottom fermented yeast for our pils and Märzen export, and top fermented yeast for our Hefeweizen, which, in line with the latest methods, we store under particularly energetic and active fermentation conditions. Bottom fermented yeast is deposited at the bottom of the tanks at the end of the fermentation process, while top fermented yeast rises to the surface during the process. The main fermentation of our bottom fermented beers is complete within 7 days and takes place in numerous cylindro-conical fermentation tanks at an even low temperature of between 8 to 10 degrees centigrade in accordance with classic fermentation processes. For top fermented Hefeweizen, the wort is fermented within 3 to 4 days at temperatures of 15 to 20 degrees centigrade. Once the main fermentation process is complete, the beer is stored and matured for 4 weeks at a temperature of down to -2 degrees centigrade. It is here that our quality beer takes on its distinctive mellow and well-rounded flavor, and the unique lightness of flavor. The cloudy components are removed from the bottom fermented beers during the ensuing filtering process. It is at this point that the beers obtain their delicate, lucent and crystal clear appearance. The Hefeweizen, however, retains the natural cloudiness characteristic of this type of beer, and so bypasses the filtering process, going straight to bottling. Non-alcoholic beer. We use a special, highly sophisticated process to produce our non-alcoholic beers. Both non-alcoholic Zäpfle and Hefeweizen are brewed according to cutting-edge expertise and technological developments in the field. The alcohol is removed at a de-alcoholization plant, of which there is only one in the whole of Germany. This process retains the beer aromas and flavors, and thus yields non-alcoholic beer of extraordinarily high quality. Perfection and performance. Bottling and kegging.
Прекращаем процесс плавления на
Our
Rothaus,
brewery's filling
Germany.
facilities